This is former Hoosier basketball player Nick Zeisloff. Keep up with the Hoosiers on Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Now joined by Coach Steve Aaron from the Indiana Volleyball program. Coach, how are you, man? Good morning to you, sir. Hope your week's been good, but I'm sure you guys are ready to get it going today, man.
Yeah, much like football, I think they're tired of hitting each other. We're tired of hitting balls at each other, so it's about time to, get another team on the other side and see what we got.
As a coach, I know as a player, players are like that. They're so ready to go. But as a coach, how much of that is true for you too, to see where you are, where your team is, and what is stuck with them leading up to this and what hasn't?
Well, here's the challenge, and especially for your listeners and people that follow hoops and football. It's in basketball. Archie and Terry get to spend time with their team in the summer. And there's legislation for that. And with football, they get to, they got a long camp and they got time in the summer where they can work with the kids. We don't get to see them for 3 months. And then we got 2.5 weeks to put a lineup together. And my biggest thing right now is we got 9 kids returning, but 9 new bodies. So when 50% of your team is brand new and you're moving into a new building and things are kind of moving and shaking, you're just trying to find some basics and kind of play clean and see what you have. I have no idea how good we're going to be. I could tell you, I think we're a heck of a lot better than we were a year ago, and I think we're a lot more physical and will be fun to watch. But how that looks relative to our schedule, we'll see.
I've heard you say that a time before. Why is there a reason? Why is that? Why doesn't volleyball get more time?
My understanding is basically, I think there's a good percentage of the Power 5 schools might be able to do it. They might have the budgets to do it, but for volleyball, we have 334 teams in the country that compete at the Division I level. And then when you look at that, I think it would have to be fair for everyone. So you wouldn't have the Big Tens and the Pac-12s basically getting into a training year-round situation where other schools couldn't. So I think it's competitive balance. I think that's a big part of it.
And so far, the early season, you guys have had your Cream and Crimson scrimmage, which we had last week, which was fun. But before this first game is played, where do you feel your team is? Are they where you thought they would be, where you want them to be?
Yeah, I think we're ahead of schedule a little bit. When we got here, so we've been here 18 months. When we got here, we inherited a team that was 1-19 in the conference. Last year we finished over 500. I think we had a pretty good first year. We, had a bunch of injuries kind of got in the way, but we battled and the kids worked hard. And then, things happen. We had some kids move on. We brought in some new kids, a freshman class, some transfers, and the kids who stayed, I think, really understood the system. The staff is intact. So some type of continuity matters. For me, especially for people to learn how I want things to look and how I want things to go. But yeah, visibly we'll look different. We look like a Big Ten team. We're physical. We've got a bunch of kids who can bang the ball, and we're a lot more confident than we were a year ago. So I would say we're vastly improved, and we'll wait and see how that looks.
It's a big weekend out there at Wilkinson Hall. The kind of the grand opening for you guys for volleyball. I know that there's been some events here and there, but this is like the big deal. This is the biggie, the first real game in there, and it's at 12:30 today against Florida International, right?
Yeah, tonight. So we play an afternoon game. Then this evening at 8:00 against Marshall, we're expecting, we're hoping it's going to be sold out, and swimming and diving programs coming over. You'll see the basketball teams will be over. I think all of the student athletes who aren't competing. I think men's soccer has a match tonight, but everyone else is kind of free. It looks like there might be some rain on the forecast, so we're hoping. We have a big student tailgate outside and a whole bunch of stuff on the docket. So we hope the weather just holds on for everyone involved. But it should be everyone's first taste of what I think this is going to become. And obviously, the better the program gets and the more people get used to showing up, I think it's going to be more and more fun. But it's going to be a pretty special day.
And like a full weekend of games, besides Florida International and Marshall tonight at 8:00, like you mentioned, UT Martin also in there, and Santa Clara, a little West Coast flavor in there. So a full slate of round-robin games to be played.
Yeah, and again, these are good teams. These are teams that will have to play well to beat. The 8:00 match tonight will be a challenge. The Santa Clara match, it's a bunch of really good California kids with the former assistant from Stanford coming off winning a national championship. So I think there'll be a good program. And what we're hoping is that the community, the students, faculty, staff, everyone kind of in the Bloomington area who may not have checked it out comes and checks it out. The parking situation is amazing because we're right by Assembly Hall. Very easy to get to. Concessions are great. Sidelines are great. It's a really neat place to watch a sporting event, and you're almost on the court, so you'll be part of the action. That's for sure.
Volleyball certainly open for business at Wilkinson Hall for Indiana this year. A friend of mine, Kevin Brockway, wrote a nice piece that came out yesterday talking about the success of IU volleyball and tied with IU basketball and all that. It was a pretty cool article. A lot of names are being in the crowd as well. I know I talked to Jeff Oliphant. He's going to be a guest on the show today, father of Sophie Oliphant, who he was a member of the 87 National Championship basketball team. He'll be there. There's going to be a lot of people there today, man. You're going to have a huge crowd.
Yeah, it should be good. And, to speak real quickly on Jeff and a couple of the kids, Brian Sloan, who's an alumni who played here for Coach Knight. And, we've got some kids on the roster that parents played collegiate athletics. They've been involved. Emily Fitzner's brother was with the basketball program last year, but her dad played basketball at Stanford. Mom played volleyball at Hawaii. We've just got a bunch of kids who come from really good families with really good people that are tough and they work hard and they're respectful and they do things the right way. And anytime you're building a program, a business, I don't care what you're building, you need that kind of human being beside you. So we're kind of in the infancy of all of it, but we're certainly thrilled to have those people on board for the ride.
Looking forward to it. It ought to be an exciting season. I know that you're expecting great things. You're not trying to tell people that, hey, this is going to be the NCAA championship team this year, but you guys are improving and you're on the rise. But is this the season where you think you can compete with the Big Ten teams? And I say that because the Big Ten is the hierarchy of women's volleyball.
Well, I think what I would say is it's probably pretty similar to football, where you're in a division in a conference. We have five top of the top 10 teams in the country. There's 5 from the Big Ten. We'll play most of them both home and away. There's 7 in the top 15 or 17. So the question isn't, are we going to be good? We could be a top 25 team in the country and still competitive. Competitive success might be a hard thing to pull off. And I think that's just part of it. I think this thing is growing it the right way. We got here, we took over a team that was 1-19. So to be in this conversation where people are like, listen, are you going to climb? Are you going to make the tournament? Are you going to chip away? I mean, to me, it's a pretty cool thing, especially 18 months in, to be having these conversations. And then my answer might surprise some people. I think if we're healthy and we keep developing the way we can, I think we're going to be competitive. I think so many games come down to 1 or 2 plays, just like football, just like basketball. And what we want to do is give ourselves the opportunity to be close enough that we can, pick up a few wins that people don't expect.
And for some people on the football field, if you got a great quarterback, you can tell, you see that. On the volleyball court, what's a difference maker between a really good player or a great player and just a normal player? What separates that to that next level?
Well, I think one of the things, every time I've been fortunate enough to win a championship or, win the Big Ten or have special seasons before in my career, it always came down to someone being able to throw the ball to the roof and someone to jump and just bury it. And I think so the game is won and lost kind of when the game doesn't look so pretty. And for me, it's playmakers. It's like wide receivers or people you can isolate in basketball that go one-on-one. And you need a bucket. You need someone who can do it. So we've got some kids in the program that are developing and young. I think it's going to be interesting to see how they develop over the year. But we've got enough tools and we've got enough kids who are physical that when people show up and see the matches, they'll learn pretty quick that we've got a few kids who can compete.
Now, I used to erroneously think that the teams from the West Coast would dominate this sport, and that may have used to been the case, but now it's not. It's like you just mentioned, teams from the Big Ten, teams like Nebraska or Penn State or Wisconsin, amazingly. But when I do see a team from the West Coast like Santa Clara, are they not just usually inherently good?
Well, they start young. I mean, that's a big part of it. I think the culture is a lot of those kids grow up and they start playing the game at a young age. But I'll tell you this: if I've told people this in the last few pressers and interviews like this, the state of Indiana develops some of the best volleyball players in the country, and has done for years. I think there's great high school coaches, great club coaches. Obviously, there's some elite college programs in the state. What we want to do is attract, recruit, retain the best young kids from Indiana and get them to want to come here. I mean, the fact that we have this new building, I think it's a great education. Campus is beautiful. And you're an hour and a half away, 2-hour drive from some of the best young players in the country. My job right now is to make this more attractive in a place they think they can come, go play professionally, go be an Olympian, compete for Big Ten championships, national championships. And that's a big focus for us. Indiana is an unbelievable state for our sport.
It all starts at 12:30, Wilkinson Hall, out at the complex next to Assembly Hall, Cook Hall, and all that. Coach Steve Aird, I cannot thank you enough. We'll continue to bang the drum today.
Can't wait, man. I appreciate the time and the help with just getting the word out, and we hope to see everyone tonight.
Absolutely, Coach Steve Aird with the Indiana volleyball program. We'll see you later in the day, Coach. Good luck today.
Cheers. Take care.
Thank you. Stay tuned. We got plenty coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Of course, we're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. We're back with more right after this.